The problem is that in evolution, there's lots of mechanisms for change. So, and this is one thing that Peterson actually kind of talks about, but I don't think he understands what I don't think he understands the gravity of what he's actually saying. So one of the ways, that people typically think about this is mutation. So there's mutation that happens from cosmic rays. I mean, we can get all crazy about where cosmic rays come from, but that's a pointless regress back to nothingness. There's the Gnosticism, right? So there's always mutation. And then there's something that isn't that, because it's not external cause from cosmic rays, that happens as a result of mating. Even asexual reproduction, where some variation happens as the result of the joining of two sets. That's a different type of variation from mutation. It's a different mechanism entirely. You have nothing in common. They can work together. They can happen together, obviously, right? But that's a different statement, right? So those two are separate from adaptation, because adaptation is like a good way to think about adaptation is in karate. A lot of people understand this. There's practices you can do, like you hit your bones on a regular basis, and your bones get stronger as a result. I know Vervaeke talks about this. A lot of people talk about this. Okay, when you do that, okay, because you've changed what's called the epigenome, which is still relatively new and not understood at all, because it just turns out that DNA is actually less than a third of the picture by all the numbers I've ever looked at. I don't know where anybody else is getting their numbers from, but it looks like it only does a third of the prediction rate. The epigenome will pass on those stronger bones and that ability so that your offspring will have an easier time to do that, or may even have that modified bone structure already. That's adaptation. That's not mutation. It's not either of the other types of mutation. It's a totally different process that, again, they have overlap, but they're not dependent on one another. They're completely independent. And it's this. The problem for these scientists is that in order to do proper science, actual science with the scientific method, you really have to reduce the variables down to one and only alter one variable at a time. You can't do that with evolution because A, the scale is beyond your lifetime automatically, and B, there's just too many variables. We don't even know them all, is my suspicion. I can't prove that, obviously. I can't prove an unknown, but I don't think we even understand them all, right? We've got genetics, which is the DNA. We've got the epigenome, which is something else, which turns these on and off and also does something else that we don't know about. And then you've got the mRNA, the messenger RNA system. And we don't really know anything about how that works. Like, we know almost nothing. We know what it does, but we can't make changes to it with any reliability. And that's a real problem. They've been working with messenger RNA for like 10 plus years in a serious fashion in controlled environments, and they've gotten nothing consistent for results at all. So that's just the three mechanisms that we know about. So you can't look at the epigenome and know whether or not something's been turned on or off. It only gives you an indication, because if the messenger RNA didn't send the message, it didn't get turned off. So there's three variables right there in the genetic system that we know about for sure, right? That maybe combined explain the whole thing. I don't think so, though. I think the math is still way off, but I'm not a math guy, so I haven't bothered to even think about calculating it. In the same way the math was way off, they knew this midway through the Human Genome Project. They figured out this isn't going to explain the things we thought it was going to explain. The math doesn't work. There's too many combinations in the human to be explained by this genome, as complex as it is, and as many computers as we have on this.